I am curious to see how MaXXXine follows. This is the final movie in this trilogy, and I think Ty West, what he is great at is the direction with these movies and his coming style. What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is OCD Movie Reviews. My name is On the Brain Cat, and today I'm going to review the latest horror thriller film, MaXXXine. This movie is directed by Ty West, and this movie is the third and final movie in the X trilogy. And this movie stars the return of Mia Goth with the rest of the cast, from Elizabeth Debicki, Lily Collins, Bobby Cannavale, Michelle Monaghan, and Kevin Bacon. In 1980s Hollywood, adult film star and inspiring actress MaXXXine Minx finally gets her big break. But as a mysterious killer stalks the starlights of Hollywood, a trail of blood threatens to reveal her sinister past. Now here's the thing, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I was not planning on seeing this movie because I was not too big of a fan of the first X movie. Now, I enjoyed X. I don't think it's a terrible movie. I don't hate it, you know? It's definitely a pretty decent movie that pays a lot of good tribute to like classic 1970s slasher horror films like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But there's just scenes in X where I'm just like, I don't know if I want to watch it again. It's just way too much for me. But, you know what? There is no other films out there, and MaXXXine is still out at the moment, so this is a pretty late review. I decided, you know what? I'm going to check this movie out. And before I check this movie out, I decided, you know what? I have not seen Pearl. A lot of people are saying it is better than X, so I decided to check out Pearl first to kind of get my knowledge complete with this trilogy. And I'm not going to lie, guys. I was very surprised by Pearl. I actually liked Pearl way more than X, and way more than I thought I would. I think it's definitely the best in this trilogy, absolutely for sure. I think Ty West directed that movie extremely well. I love the style of that film, and Mia Goth, man, that is one of her best performances that I've ever seen her in a movie. She is fantastic in Pearl. That film is an excellent prequel, and it kind of made me appreciate X a little more, even though I still have the same feelings with X. So after seeing Pearl, you know, I am curious to see how MaXXXine follows. This is the final movie in this trilogy, and I think Ty West, what he is great at is the direction with these movies and his coming style. So I went into the movie with an open mind. After watching Pearl, I was very curious to see how MaXXXine is. And I gotta say, guys, I enjoyed MaXXXine for quite a bit. I don't think it is the best in this X trilogy, but this is definitely a solid conclusion to this trilogy. And I gotta say, what Ty West is fantastic at is style. Each of these three films have completely different style. Like I said with X, it definitely felt like an old school 70s slasher horror film like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Pearl has this like weird family movie looking vibe. It's very colorful, very, very bright. This movie definitely feels like an 80s retro slasher psychological thriller film. I love the way that MaXXXine looks. This movie looks incredible. You definitely feel like you're in the 80s, the color schemes, the overall look of the movie. I gotta say, Ty West, that is what he's great at, style in his movies, and I will definitely say MaXXXine is definitely one of his best in the trilogy. Absolutely, that is for sure. I love the way the movie looks. I love the retro 80s feel in this movie. The soundtrack is also really fantastic in this film. And I gotta say, once again, Mia Goth proves to us that she is a phenomenal actress in horror. She is definitely a fucking star, like she said in the movie. Absolutely. Mia Goth is still fantastic in this movie as MaXXXine. You know, after the events of the first act, she's a completely different character. And I just thought Mia Goth definitely brings it all to this film. It's no surprise that Mia Goth is good in this film. She's even good in the first X, even though I wasn't a fan of it. She's a really good actress. In this movie, no surprise, she is great in this film. The rest of the supporting characters are great. Bobby Cannavale and Michelle Monaghan plays these detectives in the film. They're definitely the comedic relief in this film, and I thought they did a pretty good job in the film. Elizabeth Debicki also plays this director of the film for MaXXXine, and I thought she also does a really good job in this film. Lily Collins, for the small role she's been given, she does a good job in the film, but I gotta say, Kevin Bacon actually stole this movie for me. There are so many good scenes with Kevin Bacon's character in this film, and I gotta say, he looked like he had a total blast playing this character, and I think Kevin Bacon is great playing villains in movies. I wouldn't say this is like his best compared to like X-Men First Class, but he does a pretty fun job in this film. And that is this movie. This is a fun movie overall that kind of pays tribute to fun 80s slasher movies. Like, this movie is definitely an 80s retro slasher movie, also a detective story as well. And I would say the story throughout the most part really works for me in this film. Even though I would say I didn't feel as intense as I was honestly with Pearl and X. I feel like Pearl and X adds the intensity very, very well. This film has some pretty gruesome moments. I'll give this movie credit. There is like one scene that involves in the alleyway where I'm just like, oh, okay, that's pleasant. But I wouldn't say this movie didn't feel as intense as I was expecting, honestly, comparing to Pearl and X. Like, especially Pearl, there are scenes in Pearl where I'm just like, I'm on the edge of my seat the entire time. This movie just felt like a very fun 80s retro slasher movie. This is definitely a completely different film comparing to the other two, and I still think it works. I just didn't feel the intense impact as I thought I would. But I would say one of my biggest issues with the film, in my opinion, is the way this film wraps up. There is a reveal that happens in this film of the Night Stalker, and when I watch this reveal, I'm like, okay, in my opinion, that just came out of nowhere. I get why it's there, it's connected, without spoiling it, it's connected, but I'm just like, okay, it kind of leads and came out of nowhere. I wouldn't say it ruined the film or anything, it's just kind of there, and the ending kind of rushes itself a little bit. It didn't feel as anticlimactic as I thought it would be to conclude this trilogy. But you know what? MaXXXine is at least a very fun movie. I love the retro Hollywood 80s slasher movie feel, and Mia Goth, man, she still brings it all to this film. I would definitely say this is better than X, but it's my second favorite in this trilogy. I think Pearl still stands out in this trilogy. But overall, guys, I enjoyed MaXXXine still. I think this is a very solid conclusion to the X trilogy. Mia Goth is, once again, fantastic in this film. The rest of the cast is great. Ty West, definitely, his direction with this film is absolutely great. His style, the soundtrack, just the way the movie looks very retro-y. It really does work. I love the way the movie looks. It's definitely a really good big screen time movie, especially when you see the cinematography and stuff. The cinematography looks great. There are some really fun slasher stuff that happens in this film. There are a bit of intense moments, but not as intense as I felt with X and especially Pearl. But the film has a lot of fun to be had, and I would say MaXXXine is a pretty solid conclusion to the X trilogy. I gotta say, for MaXXXine, definitely see this film at a matinee price. If, of course, it's still in theaters. It's a pretty late review. If not, if it's on streaming soon, just stream it. It's definitely a fun movie. So, guys, that is my review for MaXXXine. Let me know what you think of this film in the comments below. Do you like the film, hate the film? And what is your favorite film in the X trilogy? Let me know that in the comments below. Make sure you guys follow me on social media links down below. Keep contact with me, and make sure you guys subscribe to my channel for my latest movie reviews and other movie-related content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a nice day.